This conference will now be recorded.
Some people are not on the job today. Our job
You ain't even started going over nothing important. Well, I tell you to record you talking about non-classwork.
Yeah.
Don't be so sensitive. I tell you. Job author constant in-class examples. Y'all should be saying, we're going to give him a break today since he's talking about all of this good stuff and everything.
You don't give us a break, so no.
I thought
Ooh. You don't. For
give
real,
y'all
though, you don't.
somewhat of a break, Cameron.
I haven't had a break since the semester started.
I know that's right.
So here we have a problem, similar to a quiz I might give the teams, where we have the assumptions, just one raw material, one direct labor, then we have the total manufacturing overhead listed, we have the quantity to be produced and the selling price, and we have the worksheet. So what I'm going to suggest is when I give you this problem, you break the problem up. But everybody does this at the beginning. So each team member completes this worksheet on unit cost, selling price, and predetermined overhead. And you come to a consensus of what these numbers are, and then go to the rest of the problem. Because we discussed last time, if you got errors in here, then your problem is going to be wrong. So one of the things the teams will need to do is everybody does this part of it. Okay. Then once this is done, then probably the stages can be assigned. So one person works on stage 1, another person works on stage 2, then stage 3 requires the efforts in 2 to be done. So the person working on stage 2 either does stage 2 or works on it. Then we have stage 4, where the work can begin on stage 4 in terms of the sale, but you have to work on the cost part. But then the manufacturing overhead part can be worked on right away. So what I'm saying is, once the team completes this part of it, then it allocates stages to various team members, and they begin to work on those stages. 1 and 2 can be worked on right away. 3 has to wait. 4, the work can be done on it. And we'll talk about, but 1 journal entry, the cost of goods sold could not be done until 2 and 3 were finished. Selling expenses, stage 5 is independent. That can be worked on right away. And so as you work in that journal, you're making the journal entries and you posting to the ledger. Once that is done, then the cost of goods manufactured, cost of goods sold statement, and income statement then are prepared. Here's the template for cost of goods sold, and you're going to find that it's on a total basis, but it's those same 3 things that we work with: direct materials, the labor, and manufacturing overhead. So this is not a hard table per se. It looks large, but it's really not. We're saying for the production process, what happened in this process. And for the most part, you can work with the raw materials and work in process T accounts to get this done. So you're getting your strategy in terms of how you can finish this. So we're setting things up so we can run through. But when you get ready to then come to this, when you get ready to come to fill out the schedule, that's all you need to do. So this, it just started to repeat here, but you know, really this top part is all you got to do.
I have a question on that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you can scroll up a little bit. Okay, so I know, whenever you first start off with raw material and everything like that, it's giving you everything that it's looking for. Is this going to be kind of like the balance sheet where, like, you know how sometimes we don't have inventory and sometimes we don't have, accounts receivable or things like that? Is it going to be like that, or is it always going to give us exactly what it's looking for from the T charts?
Exactly what you're looking for from the T charts.
Okay, cool.
Then we get to the cost of goods sold. Statement. You can basically go to finished goods. The finished goods and the COGS T accounts in the parity statement. If you are having some problems with your Blackboard, I think that you can switch browsers sometime, but you can also go through and erase history and get rid of the cookies or whatever it is. And that will cause that to happen too. Income statement, simply going to the appropriate T accounts also. So you can go to the T accounts for that and get that done out of trial balance. Okay, so I've basically come through and tried to take my time to set this problem up. Okay, so back to Team 5. Team 5 explained to me the calculation of estimated unit cost, estimated selling price, predetermined overhead rate. Explain this to me.
Say it again.
Assume someone was not here last time. Show them how we got these numbers for estimated unit cost, estimated selling price, predetermined overhead.
The estimated unit cost of produce, we do like the raw materials 1 and 2. Okay. No, yeah, I'm sure. We already had one direct material, and then we had a direct labor. So we did 2 times 10, which is 20, and then we did 3 times 10, which is 36.
Okay, so what he's saying, a little muffled, the direct materials, and we're getting the unit cost. Everything is always on a unit cost basis. So we're gonna pick up the direct materials. You only have one. It's ink is 2 times 10. 20. Plus what? The labor, which is what?
36.
Which is going to be the 3 times the 12. So that's the 36. And then we need the overhead. And we'll come back and get the overhead later. Let's go down here and get our POR. And we said and calculated POR. How do we do it? Put in the total overhead. That's on the first line. Then we put in the quantity to be produced, 50,000. Then on the next line, we're gonna look at our productivity, and that productivity is what? 3. Okay. Next, on the next line comes what? The total hours is gonna take for us to make this item. So what's total hours gonna be? Hours gonna be, Josiah?
I can't see that good.
So how many hours is it gonna take us to make this item? These items? Just 50,000 times 3. Don't make it hard. 150,000 hours.
Well, I see that. I couldn't really see that. Small.
Okay, fine. Your team could have been helping you though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So our POR is going to be what? 600 divided by 150 gives us what?
4.
Now, can everybody do that? Put these 4 numbers in and get a POR. You don't need a template. Okay. The top number is the overhead. The next number is the quantity to be produced. See that right there, Emerald? You see them?
Yeah, I see him.
Then we need to know what's our productivity rate. It says it's 3 hours. We put 3 in, and because it's taking 3 hours, we multiply 3 times 50 to get to 150. So it's going to take us 150,000 hours. We divide the top line by the bottom line, POR. Okay? Now we need to go up here and get our costs for overhead. We have in here the unit direct material costs, 20. We have the unit direct labor costs, 36. We now need the unit overhead cost of the 600,000. And how are we gonna get that, Josiah?
Right.
We're gonna take this little 3 right here. Then we're gonna put in what? A times sign. What else am I gonna copy in here and put in that parentheses?
POR.
I assume you said
He did.
It was just 12, I think. Folks 3 times first 12, and add that up together, it'll come out to 68, I think.
so does everybody see what we did? We're trying to get the estimated unit cost. We brought down the raw materials first, 20. We brought down the labor next, 36. We finally need the overhead, the 600,000. We need it on a unit basis. And we said we could go down here where we did the predetermined overhead rate, use the predetermined overhead rate 4, and use the hours that it was taking us to make the items 3. And that's going to give us unit overhead cost, which is what?
$68.
For the overhead, 12.
That's
I'm just putting 12 in, so everybody be clear. And then once we get the 12 in, what's this cost?
68.
68.
And our selling price multiple was what?
3.
3.
So what's our selling price going to be?
204.
Can everybody in the room do this now? Can everybody do this now?
Yes.
Put in the
Yes.
chat if you can do it.
Yep, we good.
Well, maybe I should say, can you do it under pressure?
Hey, don't do me like that.
Can you make that free throw with 2 seconds left to win the game? Okay. Starting point, everybody on the team does this, has a suggested strategy, because anybody can make a mistake. So that being the case, you all do it. And then you make sure these numbers are the same. So that's the strategy that I would like to see. Now let's go to stage 1's acquisitions. And it's always helpful if you're making hard copies of stuff so you have it, because I need to go to the journal entries. So I'm gonna expect that you all can tell me what's in these journal entries. So in the first 3 journal entries were, we formed the corporation investing $50,000. We bought equipment with a note of $800,000, and we purchased 110,000 ink cartridges at $10 each. So those are the 3 items. Let me have the journal entries.
Cash and common stock.
So we're gonna debit cash and credit common stock
For 50,000.
for 50,000. What's our next entry?
It's equipment, I believe,
Equipment.
and notes payable. Equipment 800 debit and notes payable credit 800,000 debit credit. Sorry.
So notes payable.
The next one is raw material ink and account payable, and you multiply that and you get 1,100,000.
So how much we getting? How much was it? 1,100,000?
Yeah.
Now for the quiz, not for your midterm, but for the quiz, but you will simply post appropriate manufacturing accounts. Okay. So all you have to do is put items in the manufacturing accounts. And so we're just putting in the million. and raw materials. So we just, in the manufacturing accounts, we have a raw materials, work in process, finished goods, sales cost of goods sold, manufacturing overhead. And I guess I'll put selling expenses in here. Okay. So we're on our way. Now we're on stage 2. And in stage 2, we transfer 100,000 ink cartridges to work in process. Our actual labor hours were 152,000, $10 an hour. And then we applied the manufacturing overhead at the predetermined overhead rate. So predetermined labor rate of POR. Okay, so can I get these entries?
Your debit work in progress and credit raw materials, Inc.
So we're going to debit work in process and we're going to credit.
Be at a million.
It'll be 1 million.
Okay, so let's put that in. Raw materials, Inc. And we're going to post this too. So what's our posting going to look like? We're going to debit work in process.
1 million.
What we're going to credit?
Raw materials.
Raw material, Inc.
Okay. What's our next journal entry?
It will be work in progress and in cash. And it'll be 1,520,000.
So 1,520,000. Okay, and we're going to post this entry also.
You're debiting 1,520,000 for work in progress.
Correct.
For cash, it'll be the same for credit.
Yeah, but I'm only doing my manufacturing accounts.
All right.
So stage 1, stage 1, stage 1. Now we're in stage 2. So what's our next journal entry for stage 2?
Manufactured overhead.
What you going to, okay. So what's the journal entry going to be?
You're on debit work in process at 608,000. And credit manufacturing overhead at 608,000.
So how did you get 608,000?
Multiply the POR, which is 4 by the actual labor hours, which was 152,000.
So we multiply the 4,
Yes,
which is
by 152,000.
times the actual labor hours, 152. That's how we got the 608. Does everyone see that? POR, that's what we originally, remember we calculated that at 4. And we apply it to the actual labor hours. So we're gonna go and post this. So where we're posting at?
Wait, Professor Boyd, can you scroll back up, please, if you don't mind?
Okay.
Okay, right there. Okay, you can go ahead now.
So you debit work in process at 608,000.
And what else we're gonna do? We're gonna credit the manufacturing overhead for 608,000. So this is our estimated overhead. Okay. So we're now ready for stage what?
3.
We're ready for stage 3. Walls, you ready?
I can try.
Wait a minute, wait a minute. What's this about you can try?
Wait a minute, Professor Boyd. My group member
Yeah,
said
because
he
he
can try.
showed that he was
Don't do
going to
that.
say.
No, we thought, no, he knows we said he was gonna handle this last time, didn't we?
But he gonna try. And if he don't get it, we're gonna work it out.
Right. Why are you attacking my members
Don't
like
do
that?
that.
That's
Don't
period.
do that.
Professor Boyd, you done started a whole situation in the group chat. A whole
For
situation.
real.
I don't
Just
read
because you
it.
decide to rat out Josiah and his teammates.
Ran out him and his teammates.
For real, you did him real bad. You did him
A
dirty.
wise woman once said,
I don't read
group
the chat.
accountability never hurt nobody.
Say what?
I said, a wise woman once said, group accountability doesn't hurt anybody.
Period.
Messy.
Now you know that I can always put y'all out the class, very easily. I just have
Put us out the class for what?
Okay, just letting you know. So don't act up, I can just.
Oh, Lord.
All right, okay, that's enough. Let's move on because we got to get through this today. So we are now in the process of determining how much we're going to transfer finished goods. And so we're supposed to make how many items? How many items were we supposed to make?
50,000.
I thought it was 40,000. Is it 50?
How many did we make?
40.
40.
Okay, so we were supposed to make 50,000. That was what was in the plan, but we only made 40.
Oh, okay.
So when we get ready to transfer costs from work in process to finished good, we only transferring out 40,000 units. So only 40,000 units are coming here. So the question becomes, how much of the 40,000 of these costs are we going to transfer? What's our total cost at this point on the debit side?
Are you waiting for us to answer? Because it's group 4. Okay. So what are you asking again?
It's
Total cost of debit.
3
$3,128,000.
3 million, what, 128,000?
Yeah.
So
Sorry, Andrew. I didn't mean to cut you off right there, buddy. I was just trying to answer.
I appreciate it.
So how much of this 3,128,000 are we going to transfer out? And it says in the instructions, transfer 40,000 units with raw materials for the 40,000 only, and 100% of labor and overhead. So it's telling you that we only transferring raw materials for the 40,000 that were finished, because the ink is still in there, in the working process center to finish up construction. So we only want the ink for 40,000 units. So what was our ink cost? What was our per unit ink cost?
So I think an easier way to look at this, because the way you word it, it can be confusing. So if the problem said that we taking all the labor and all the overhead and only 40,000 units, when we add up the finished goods, we're going to take all of the overhead, which is 608,000, and we're going to take all of the labor, which is 1,520,000, and then we're going to do 80% of 1 million, because 40,000 from 50,000 is 80%.
How much was the ink on a unit basis?
Wait, what are you asking again?
You at $10.
$10 per unit.
Yeah, okay. My fault.
Okay, so it was $10. And how many ink cartridges were we using?
Well, we only use 40,000 of them. Right.
How many were used or how many were bought?
Okay. We're using 2 ink cartridges, right?
Yeah, for every $10.
At $10.
$10 for 2.
So each completed book. So there are 80,000 ink cartridges here. So I'm trying to get you to see. It's 40,000 books, 2 ink cartridges each. So it's 80,000 ink cartridges that's in those books at $10. That's 800,000. So that's just another way to look at it. Or as Kayla said, we finish 80% of the books. So we can take 80% of 1 million, but I wanted you to look at it just a little differently, that there are 40,000 that were finished with 2 ink cartridges each. So that's 80,000 at 10, 800. So it's more than one way to get it. What do these numbers add up to?
2,928,000.
Okay. So based on our now, we just have the one number here, but we're just showing how it would look. What's going to be our balance in working process at this point? How much we got left in there in this T account?
$200,000.
100,000. How much we got in raw materials at this point?
100,000.
So now, so we can go now and make this journal entry. And so, and we're just going to do the posting now because we're going to debit finish goods and credit work in process. Okay. So we're now in stage 2 where we debit goods. And we credit work in process.
Oh, I could have told you the number.
Okay, 2,928. Thank you. So this is the only journal entry so far that requires any amount of calculation per se. You know, that's not just straightforward, you know, make a calculation. But notice teams, you know, in stage 1, you know, we debiting the raw, you know, the main thing is we debiting this whatever raw materials we purchase. Notice in stage 2, we got 3 debits to work in process. So in stage 2, we're always debiting work in process. So you should have that, you know, that thought process down, that whenever I make an entry in stage 2, I'm debiting work in process. So with stage 3 now, finished goods and work in process. And now we're ready to go to stage 4.
Wait, but that wasn't all that we had to do, Professor Boyd. You make sure you put that second part in bold so we knew that we had to find the actual cost. Don't just skip by that, because I found yesterday, Mia Sada and Chase found out that was highly important.
Yeah. I was like,
so wait. Going
So
back.
let's go back here. So you transfer those out. Enter here. So what is the unit cost then, since you have it calculated and you are dying?
The actual unit cost,
Mm-hmm.
it was $73.20.
What was the unit cost supposed to be?
We estimated 68.
So you estimate the unit cost of 68, but when we actually got the cost in, it was 73.20. Okay.
Oh, and Chase, I told Asada already, but how I found that, because I did it and we were trying to go over, but I forgot how I did it. Okay, so it was the finished goods inventory divided by the units that we use. So it was the 2,928 divided by the 40,000.
The units completed.
Oh, okay. Now that makes sense. Okay. Thank you, Caleb.
40,000 were completed. The cost transfer was 2,928. So you simply divide 40,000 into 2,928 and you get 73.20 as your actual cost. So when you get over here, you can't use your planned cost anymore. You got to use your actual cost. So in the manufacturing process, you know, the supervising managers, our management majors, were not on top of their workers, and the workers worked too many hours. And costs went up. Okay. So we have that in, so everybody see that. So that's where we say make that calculation, and then we would actually sort of just, this is the best place to stick it right here where the finished goods are. We're ready for stage 4. So what we're doing in stage 4.
So for stage 4, you're gonna debit cash for 6,120,000, and then credit sales for the same amount.
So you said we're debiting cash and you're crediting sales for how much?
6,120,000.
I actually had a question about that, Professor Boyd. So cash was used, but you never really specified either, because usually, when you do a sale, it's either cash or accounts receivable. I assumed that you wanted to do that in cash, but I didn't know. I didn't know if that was like a big deal or not.
Not a big deal.
Okay.
Let's kind of assume
And it's 6,120,000. That's what she said.
6,120,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, tell them how you got 6,120,000. Somebody might not know.
So we multiplied the selling price by 3, which gave us 204, and then we multiplied 204 by 30,000.
So our selling price that we determined way back up here.
Yeah.
So notice what's happening. You determine your selling price. So once you post your selling price, you stuck with that selling price. A lot of times. So you got to go with your, for instance, it's 204. The number sold, which is what, 30,000?
Yes.
Okay. And we know when we sell something, we also do what? Let me post that 6,120,000 right quick. We know that we always do what?
Put in the T accounts.
No, the cost of goods sold. So he put it down for.
Oh yeah, we debit cost of goods sold and then crediting finished goods inventory.
So we're going to debit COGS, credit finished goods. How much is that going to be?
2,196,000.
2,196,000.
196,000.
196.
Yes.
How'd you get the 2,196,000?
Multiplying the actual cost, which was 7,320 by 30,000.
So we're simply doing the 7,320 times the 30,000 number sold. So should be able to handle this from your inventory work. You always have 2 transactions: the sale and then the cost of goods sold. What else we gonna do in this stage?
Debit manufacturing overhead.
So we're recording the actual manufacturing overhead, which was 160 and 450. So 160.
Hey, I had a question about that. I was waiting for this particular moment because I had questions.
What was your question? So what's the
So,
total over?
610,000.
610,000.
Yes.
What we're gonna debit? Go ahead. What we're gonna debit?
I'll let Devin finish, and then I ask.
Manufacturing overhead.
We're gonna debit MOH. And what we're gonna credit?
Accumulated depression and cash.
accumulate depreciation. So when we have that depreciation, we always put that in the accumulate depreciation. Then we put it in the cash. So what's your question, Kayla?
So I know you gave us, if you scroll back up, it'll go all the way back up to the top. Because this kind of threw me off a little bit when I was looking at it. You gave us a whole list of expenses, right? And then you said that the total estimate overhead was 600. So it was estimated, right? So then you tell us that the actual was ended up being 610. So do we not make journal entries for like supplies expense, rent expense, utility expense, or nothing like that because you told us it was a whole different number? You know what I'm saying?
That's not important.
It's not important at all.
Mm-mm.
Okay,
it's just like when you make, if you look at your costs here, we'll look at it on the sub level, but the people working went into working, we're looking at the product. So the composition of that is not that important, for the manufacturing process. They got budgets and stuff in terms of where it's supposed to be. Manufacturing overhead. All of these items went into working process in terms of coming up with the cost of the items. So we could detail out if we wanted to, but it's not necessary.
So that's not important at all. So we have the estimated amount, which would have been like 440,000 for the expenses, but then you told us it was 450. So go with the one you gave us at the end, right?
Yeah, this is the actual.
Okay.
Remember, on my book, I've got to have a selling price in August.
Okay, so you have to make estimations so you can get a good selling price.
I need these costs in there. I don't want to do a selling price without the cost, because remember, my selling price is a multiple of all my costs, and I need all of the costs, or my selling price won't be high enough and I'll come up short. So, I mean, when you go online, don't you see a selling price for the stuff to buy something? Or you go in the store, got a selling price on it. So they've gone through this process because they can't sell an item if they don't have selling price. So they have to estimate it. Then, the journal entry just show what happened. So you got to have controls in place so those costs are closed. Okay? So that's how we operate. And that's how you're going to operate making something. You gotta have a selling price ahead of time. Okay. Because you need selling price ahead of time, and it's a multiple of the cost. You got to estimate all of those costs and then keep them on target. So that's a big part of manufacturing accounting and cost accounting. You make estimates, but then people have to be within those estimates, and bonuses are based on that. But if you get outside your estimates, then jobs are lost based on that. So when you stay within your estimates, you get bonuses. If you get over your estimates, then job losses occur. Got it?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, so in manufacturing accounting, as we said, a lot of times you got to plan ahead of time. So it's estimating and then putting controls in place and trying to be on target. So let's put this in the T account. So, Ms. Tyler, folks back in stage 2 said the overhead was 608,000. It's down 610,000.
Yeah, so you're gonna debit cost of goods sold for 2,000 and then credit the manufacturing overhead for 2,000.
So why are you gonna do that?
Because they only accounted for 608, but we used 610, so we have that left over.
So cost of goods sold doesn't have enough in it. Remember, the cost went from here to the finished good. But they under applied, they didn't have enough overhead. So all you got to realize is that the manufacturing overhead accounts got to close out to zero. So what's gonna make it close out to zero? A credit of $2,000. And so we're gonna debit cost of goods sold for 2,000. So whenever we have overhead and we've estimated it and it doesn't come out on target, that's going to be the case. Then you're going to put that difference in cost of goods sold, making a journal entry that closes this out. How much we got in cost of goods sold prior to this? What was
It's
that
at
amount?
2,196,000.
Okay, 2,196,000. And we need 2,196,000 here also. Okay, so let's go and make this journal entry. So we're going to debit cost of goods sold because we under applied, we did not have enough costs. And we're going to credit the MOH because it must close out. For the 2,000. Okay. Any questions on this entry? That's just a little standard entry that we make. All right, let's put these administrative expenses in here, selling and administrative expenses. What's our selling expense going to be?
Okay, well, it was supposed to be 1,224,000.
Because we said the selling expense was what? 20% of sales, right? So we take 20% of this number. How much is it?
1,224,000.
1,224,000. 1,224. Then we have administrative expenses. And that was just given to us, correct? At what? $1 million?
And dividends was 50,000.
So you got this down now, Kayla? You got this down now?
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I'm working too hard today. All right, and dividends were how much?
50,000.
Okay.
You get paid the big bucks to work this hard. I'm just a broke college student.
That's not where it goes. You know, people who get paid a lot don't work hard. Do you know that? Just think about that. Okay, let's go back to these T accounts right quick. How much we got left in finished goods?
Hey, did you ever make a T account for cash?
No.
Oh, good luck.
How much we got left? Finished goods.
Finish 7.
2.
It's
Yeah,
732.
732. Okay, and how much we got in cost of goods sold?
2,198,000.
And how much we got in manufacturing overhead?
That should be
It
balanced
closes out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's zero. Okay, now we're ready to get these financial statements done. Cost of goods manufactured. Are you ready, team 8? Raw materials beginning with 0. How much did you purchase?
1,100,000.
Was raw materials ending?
100,000.
How much raw materials did you use in production?
1 million.
Direct labor?
1 million.
That was
500.
1,520,000.
Mm-hmm.
So notice all of these numbers lift straight out of the work in process account. Because that's what I was telling you in terms of you can use that T account. So the total manufacturing cost was how much?
That was 3,128,000. I mean 3,128,000, sorry.
We didn't have any beginning work in process.
0.
Ending?
Yeah, 200,000.
200,000.
What's the cost of goods manufactured?
That would be
2,928,000.
2 million what?
928,000.
Where have you seen that number before? In what journal entry? Have you seen that number possibly?
No, one's
That's the finished goods inventory, stage 3.
Yeah.
So when we make that journal entry, note that you got a check on whether your number is correct. Agree with this number. Okay? Got a check there. Okay, so let's do this cost of goods sold quickly.
Okay, so we didn't have a beginning inventory. The cost of goods manufactured was 2,928,000.
So we bring this down.
The finished goods inventory was 732,000. So that gives us an unadjusted cost of goods sold for 2,196,000. We were under applied by 2,000.
So you're gonna add or subtract?
We're gonna add it.
You're gonna add it.
And that gives us 2,198,000.
And once again, you can go what? To your T account as a check number. And I'll let y'all do the income statement. I'm assuming y'all can knock out a little income statement. What was the net income though? Just give me the final number.
1,698,000.
1,698,000. All right, so I've gone through the whole problem. Dawkins, okay, can you work it now? You said if I went through one all the way, you'd be able to work it. So what did she say? Can she work it?
Me?
Yeah. You said if I went through one, you'd be able to work it.
Probably. I mean, I could try. Can't help but try.
What kind of talk is that? Trying to do something. Sound like those Texans. They're going to try to win a game. Okay. So on Tuesday, since I'm being a good guy today, if you turn the pages 300 to 302, you see some multiple choice. So each team is to complete the multiple choice, 300 to 302. And I can call on any team member for any one of these questions. They're multiple choice. So I expect all teams to have this completed since they're multiple choice. So
We're
this is
just
what
doing
you
it, right?
getting.
We're just doing it. We're not actually turning it in, or are we doing it and turning it in?
I just want answers, so you don't have to turn it in.
Okay.
Just do it, but you're gonna have to answer it. So I'll go team by team, random. So when I call on a team, they have to answer. For the team member I call on, so that's how you get your credit that day, based on the team member I call on and whether they can answer. If they can't answer, you only get half. If somebody else has the answer for them, then they only get half credit. So team members got to be here. Team member not here, team loses half credit. And then if somebody's not here to answer, then they lose all credit. So we're clear on that?
Yes.
Yes.
That should take us only about 15 minutes. Then you'll have a team quiz. So after that 15 minutes, we'll end the class. The team quiz will show up. Team members, you get together, organize, and work that problem, the exercise that you assigned correctly. You'll have until 12:30. And I'll use your efforts on Tuesday to see how we go forward. I'm going to use your efforts on Tuesday. You got multiple choice. You're going to have a most basic of, some of what we had today, a basic job order costing problem. So I'm going to see if you can assign that work to various people and get your problem finished. Now, I don't expect one person to be doing everything to that. So you got to get your strategies together. You can go and practice on this problem now. But since you want to do a new problem to practice on exercise 10-7. So 10-7 is in here. So the teams in preparation for class on Tuesday will practice on 10-7, and they'll turn that 10-7 in with no help from anybody. So each team will do this independently. Because when you take your quiz, if you can't do your quiz, then I'm not going to give you any credit for 10-7. Now, if you do 10-7, you got some mistakes in it, and you don't have the exact thing as somebody else, then yeah, I'll give you some credit for 10-7. But if you turn me in 10-7 perfectly right, you can't do nothing with the quiz you have, then you won't get any credit for it. So that clear. So I don't want to see any same templates should be on spreadsheets coming into me. Team, don't share your spreadsheets. So when you share them, you get 0. And I can tell if they shared. Got it? So you got team 10-7 to practice what I've told you. Everybody going through and doing the assumptions piece, then you're assigning that work. So you're going to practice on 10-7, then you're going to turn that in. So that's what you turn into me, 10-7. And put down who worked on what parts. So don't just, so when you send it in, you put down who worked on what parts. So I know who worked on what parts. Got it?
You open up a link for this on Blackboard?
Yeah.
A link for what?
Turn it in, because you said like you literally just made this assignment up like right on the fly. So you got to put a link in Blackboard so we can actually turn it in, right?